Hello guys, good evening.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So where are we? SKU. Did I cover this SKU code? Did I explain what this is yesterday?
No,
Okay, I think we had some other questions, so we just came out of it. Yeah, so this is a terminology that you need to know when you say that you have worked in e-commerce domain. Okay. Did we have any just before that? Did we have any assignments other than the test cases? Anything else that you had to work on? Any homework did you have? Nothing, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So SKU. So the abbreviation of SKU is stock keep unit. So what is this? Whenever the seller, I'm sorry, somebody is trying to join. Yes. So whenever whenever the seller, okay, or whenever the seller or the content manager, okay, they try to add the product to their website. Okay, so individual each individual product will have, guys, please join on time. Okay, so yeah, so whenever the seller, okay, or the who was that, the content manager or any other person who has the access to add the product to the cart, whenever they add the product to the application, so they insert that particular product into the application, not to the cart, into the application, that will be visible in the product listing page, right? So that will be available for the customers to purchase, right? So when the product is created, when the user, when I say user, not the end user, but specific role who has the access to add the product into the application, okay? So whenever they add the product, okay, this code, stock keep unit, okay, this code, that it's a unique identifier. Some ID will be generated for a specific product, okay, and it will be different from each and every product, okay. It's a unique identifier. This is a unique ID, okay. Just try to understand what this is. So nobody's going to ask you, but you need to have some idea on this. So suppose if you work on any of the e-commerce application in future, you will have to know what this is, okay. So it's nothing but stock keep unit, okay. Next, yeah, so one more point I had missed out with respect to mockup. Just a terminology that you need to know. So sometimes it is called as wireframes, okay, wireframes, okay. It's also called as wireframe. Clear? Okay, so the next question would be the retrospective. So there was a situation sometime back, like I came across one of the interview questions where they asked, what exactly do you discuss? See, when I say explain about retrospective meeting, what do you say? What do you know about retrospective meeting? Tell me, guys, what do you know?
It is an enclosure meeting, madam, where it will be conducted when the release is going to take place. When the owner or the product owner is handing the software application to the customer. In that
Okay.
meeting, they will discuss all the points like what we did correct, what we went wrong, what are the outcomes we have to consider, or points we need to consider to develop our to improve our testings. Those things, those points will be considered, madam. It is
Right.
also
So
called
you
as a post-mortem test, post-mortem
good.
meeting.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So you know about how the higher level of what will happen in this meeting. But sometimes they might ask you, can you give some examples of, say, you have worked for 2 years, 3 years, you're showing experience, right? So they want to test you. They want to check how much do you know. So they'll ask you, tell me one example, because you might have worked on multiple sprints, like say at least 30 to 40 sprints you might have worked, right? So if it is 1 month, 1 sprint in your previous organization, minimum 12 sprints a year. So for 2 years, if you're showing 2 years of experience, you have attended 24 sprints. You've worked in 24 sprints, right? 2.5 years, almost up to 30. So in those 30 sprints, at least one, okay, one example of what went well, what didn't go well. So in case if they ask you, they might ask you, there are possibilities, okay. So in case if they ask you, I'll give you some examples. So just see how it looks, okay. So there'll be a platform where you have to post your points. Like if you feel like what went well in the last sprint. 1 second. Retrospective. Okay, if I go to the images. Okay, if I copy this is visible. So if you see here, so if you see this, team career prep retrospective, okay, this is just a sample points that you can see. You will get lot many points like this, okay. So if you see here, this is a you might have you might use a tool, or you might use some free websites, okay. So where you can access that application, okay, or any other tool, and you can post. See, each and every point that you see is being posted by the team member, by individual team member, okay. Say everybody will sit in the room, okay. So that's a meeting, right? So everybody will closely work together, so they know what actually went well in the previous sprint. As you said, this is the project closure meeting. So at the end of that sprint, they are actually making a note of what actually went well, what was wrong, what they have to improve, which is nothing but the action items, right? So here you can see one team member will say there was good collaboration. That is something that is a positive, that will be towards the positive end, right? Willingness to work on new tech task. So probably a developer might have, a development lead might have said this. He's saying that, okay, my team is willing to work on new technical tasks, stacks. Okay, new team members are onboarding. So which is going well. So they are saying that, okay, we are getting new resources so that we can take up more stories, and we can work on more projects, right? So that is a positive point. Have a meeting mid-sprint to discuss future stories. So when I say meeting mid-sprint, let's say there is in your organization, or will take one particular sprint which is of 1 month. So on the 15th day or 16th day or 17th day, which comes in the middle of the sprint, so they will have a meeting where they will start overlooking on what are the stories that needs to be taken for the next sprint or the upcoming sprint, right? So they will try to understand the basics of what are all the requirements that are actually coming up for the upcoming sprint, okay, which actually gives a lot of time for the team members to understand the next sprint. So in case if they have any doubts, okay, if they need any clarification, they'll have lot of time to get it clarified, right? So maybe in this particular team or in this particular organization with which we are looking into these points, so there they might have this, which was which the team members thought that, okay, this is actually a good way of working. So having a mid sprint meeting will be helpful. So if they feel that it will be helpful, they're going to mention this point. Good pairing work was done despite remote work. Even though there was COVID, they were working remote. So there was good collaboration. There was good communication among the team members. So the pairing work was really good. So that is one more point. E2E automation has really improved things. So all these points. Before picking any story, each story should have clear acceptance criteria. So what is this? What did not go well? Okay, what are all the drawbacks that actually happened, or what are all the negative points that I can mention here? which happened in the previous sprint. So each point is being mentioned by different team member. It is not that one person has to post only one point. No, there's no compulsion. There's a possibility that you might not post anything, neither here nor here nor here. Okay, but you can, otherwise you can even post like more than 2, 3, 5, 10. I mean, if you feel like there were so many points that you wanted to upbring and people should know about it, you feel that this did not go well, this point has to be addressed, I was facing this problem or my team was facing this problem, so you can just put forth those points here. And if it is really very important for that particular problem to be solved, okay, so they are going to have some action plans for those problems or issues, right? So what is this? Before picking any story, each story should have clear acceptance criteria. Maybe it might have happened that in the acceptance criteria which the BA had given, the points were not clear, which actually took a lot of time to understand by the development team and the testing team. Okay, so they had to collaborate more, which actually kills time, right? So it takes a lot of time. If it is if the points are self-explanatory, if the points are really straightforward, if they are very easy to understand, okay, then this wouldn't have happened. That is the reason one person is saying that it has to be, what is this? Each story should have clear acceptance criteria. Less meetings, more coding period. So we should have had some more meetings which actually help us. Say for example, in the sprint planning meeting, after the sprint planning meeting, they'll have few more meetings. See, it differs from organization to organizations, right? So they wanted to have few more meetings, like some tech talks they wanted to have in their team, within the team, which did not go. And sometimes if it is just working and working and working on the same thing, okay, that actually drains you, right? So they wanted some more off the track, which is something beyond your work. Okay, if they want some other meetings, so probably this person is saying that it was just more of coding and we wanted few more other meetings which did not happen. Okay, the team should pick more non-functional requirements to improve code base. Okay, this, forget it. Each story should be divided and people assigned to it, not everyone on same story. This is very simple to understand for you. Each story should be divided and people should be assigned on it, not everyone on the same story. Okay, so too many people who are assigned with the same story, that shouldn't happen. Okay, use a more accurate way of estimating story size. What to use isn't accurate. Use a more accurate way of estimating story size. So do you know what is a story point? Guys, do you know what is a story point?
Yes, number of estimate like given by the
time taken to complete the story.
QA or developer to complete one rough estimate to complete one story.
To complete one story. So who actually gives the story points?
BA, like actually will sit, like there are either we can go with Fibonacci series or we'll sit in a table.
Yeah, but who will give this? Who will give these points?
Developer.
Am I audible, guys?
Developer.
Afrin, if you're speaking, like you're breaking very badly. Your voice is breaking bad. Okay. Somebody said developer. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so see, what happens is, again, it differs from organization to organization. Sometimes BA will add the story points. So based on what he feels, okay, he's going to add the story points. Sometimes there'll be a meeting. I mean, in this at the end of the sprint planning meeting, they will have some estimation. Okay, so during that estimation, they will see what is the story point that can be given for each and every story that they are picking in that particular sprint. Okay, so say for example, in that sprint, which actually happens for 15 days, one sprint for 15 days. Now it is not 1 month. Okay, I'll take only 15 days period. One sprint is equal to 15 days. So now probably they are picking up just 5 stories, and the team size would be there are three developers and one QA or two QAs or 4 developers and 2 QAs. Okay, just assume it in this way. So in that situation, what will happen? The story, they have to see how many stories can be picked, so that whichever story is being picked, that needs to be completed at the end of the sprint, that is within 15 days. So they just cannot pick multiple stories, like more and more number of stories, even though they know that it is not possible to complete those stories. See, now the sprint duration is 15 days. So how many developers are there? 3 developers are there. Do you think for 15 days, within 15 days, can they complete 10 stories with 3 developers? Yes or no? Is it possible? Guys?
That again depends on the
Exactly,
requirement
that
and
is
the
one
skill set
point.
of the developers.
But one more point that needs to be considered is the complexity of the story. If they're very simple stories, if they are very simple stories, all of them are very simple stories. I mean, with respect to the complexity. So there's a terminology which you need to understand. One is complexity and the other one is efforts. Okay. When I say the story is complex, then it requires more effort, or vice versa, whatever it is. So when I say the complexity is more, then it is more complex to code, or it is more complex to understand and start with the work. Okay. But when I say more of efforts, if it is something like UI, okay, if the developer has to develop a UI, the front end part of the application, and that is a story, and the tester has to test the UI part. So there is no functionality there. It is just the UI part where you have to add the images, you have to test the images, what is the content that is being shown, just the functional and the UI part. Okay. Now, do you think the effort is more? Yes or no? Is the effort more or complexity more to test and code the UI part?
Effort.
What about others, guys? Are you understanding or not?
Understanding.
Sorry?
Understanding.
Understanding? Then answer no. Is the effort more or complexity more?
Effort.
Complexity more? Effort.
Effort.
Then answer no. How will I know whether you are understanding or not? These are very simple questions. Yeah, you have to be interactive. Even if you're wrong, it is fine. Please try to interact at least, so that I feel like, okay, you guys are not sleeping. Otherwise, even I'll not have any interest to cover these many points. So this is not important for me to cover. Basa has not told me to cover all this. Why am I telling you all this? You should know how exactly things work. Is it important for me to cover what is the story point, how it works? No, it is already covered. But why am I saying? Please try to understand. I want to give the real time understanding of how exactly it works. You just know the theoretical part of it. You know what is story point? It is an estimation. But how that estimation will be done? Do you have any tool, or how it happens in how it differs from one organization to another organization? So all these things you need to understand. So please be attentive and answer whenever I ask you these simple points. Please try to answer. So here, when I say the UI part, development and testing of the UI or the front end stories, okay. So now the effort is more, but the complexity is less. So here, whenever you make the story points, whenever you select the story points, okay, then it is based on the complexity and not the efforts. This you need to understand, guys. So this is not an interview question that will be asked, but you need to know this. Once you join an organization, okay, they'll have some meetings. So whenever they say story points, what is the story point that we can give? So you need to understand that you will have to answer. You cannot sit idle like this. They'll point you and they'll ask you, what is the story point that we can give, Pawan? Okay, so you need to answer. You will not have any other choice just to hide. Okay, so you need to understand that it is based on the complexity, mainly on the complexity. But in some organizations, they consider the complexity and the efforts, technical challenges. Okay, all these things will be considered for each task, and each team member has to give the story points. Say sometimes they will have some poll, okay, like some online. Okay, 1 second, I'll just show you.
Planning poker.
Yes, Planet Poker. Okay. Does anybody have a? Okay, just. Was this covered in your manual class?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Covered, Good, fine then.
Effort estimation techniques.
Yes, yes.
Effort estimation techniques.
Exactly. So if you see here, so if you see this, see, so these are the Fibonacci series numbers. Okay, this is how it looks, and for a particular story, the active story, they're giving to they'll have a timer where you, as an individual, you need to select the number. Okay, and based on there is a possibility that one person can select one if it is a very less complex story. Okay, say it is a UI, some basic UI thing. You might have selected one, the other person might have selected two, the other person might have selected three. So once they flip the cards, they will see there are 10 members in the team. One like 5 members have given one, 4 members have selected 2, and 1 person has selected 3. Now they might point at a single person, and they might ask, please justify, why have you selected 1, why have you selected 2, why have you selected 3? So you have to justify, and when you justify, you can have some valid points, so which others do not know or which others were not aware of. Now there's a possibility that even though 4 of them had selected, sorry, 5 of them had selected 1, 4 of them had selected 2, and 1 of you had selected 3. It's not an election kind of thing, but see, this is a poll where you have to select, right? Once you select, if you justify and your justification is right, and they feel that yes, 3 is the right number that we need to give or consider the story point 3, so then based on the justification that you give, they will consider number 3. Okay, so everywhere you have to speak. Just for the namesake, if you say that, okay, I'll select a card for a simple story, if you think like you will select 13 and you just Aram says select 13 and said no, it is not possible, they're going to ask you, why have you selected 13, right? So you have to speak up. That starts from now, guys. Please be proactive, please speak up. Okay, yes. Now coming back to this story size. Yes, so probably here they did not have an accurate estimation. Okay, so that is the negative point which they have mentioned. Need to have more team building events. So they're saying that they want some more team building events. Okay, try to eliminate unnecessary meetings. See, action items. Find more accurate ways to estimate our stories. So who actually fills the action items? Based on the what did not go well points, they're going to pick up few points from here, from this red part. They're going to pick up few points, and as a solution, what can be done? So those solutions they're going to mention here in the action items. So why do we have this? They're going to mention. They'll have a documentation of it. They'll have a track of what actually happened. Okay, so what are the action plans that we are planning to have? Okay, so all these action plans, they will implement it in future. Okay, so find more accurate ways to estimate our stories. So they did not know. Now they have to find accurate ways, because this was a point that was mentioned here, right? Okay, not everyone on the same story. Sorry, this one, story size estimation. Okay, guarantee all stories have clear acceptance criteria before picking them up. See, these are the action plans. So next time what will happen, if the BA has not provided well, nobody is going to pick the story up unless and until all the clarifications are provided, all the information is given by the BA, right? So this is how it is. Clear on this? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Ma'am, for story points, the, the planning poker, the higher the number, the more complexity is.
Right.
Is that what
Yes.
it is?
See, again, it differs from company to company, organization to organization. Okay, so sometimes they just don't consider the complexity; they also consider the efforts. But actually, it will usually be the complexity. Okay, they're not going to differentiate whether it is based on the complexity or efforts in some of the companies. But in some of the companies, they are just going to consider the complexity. So higher the complexity, more the number will be. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So the next question, how many test cases have you written? Or, okay, or how many test cases can you write per day or in a day? Okay, so these are very important questions that you might come across. Okay, so totally, how many test cases have you written? So this calculation I'm going to provide you, but before that, just try to understand this. Okay, how many test cases can you write per day? So this basically depends from person to person, individual to individual. Okay, so I might be able to write some number of test case. Okay, whereas the other person who has same experience of mine, okay, and who probably has worked on the same domain, okay, who has the same expertise, they might not be able to write as so many test cases. I mean, same number of test cases. Okay, so he might have the capability to write more, or he might have less capability. Okay, so basically on an average, okay, when they ask you this question, okay, so ideally I can write around 40 to 45 test cases. See, if you are showing more than 2 years of experience, like 3, 4, 5, please say that you can write 40 to 45 number of test cases per day. Okay, per day. Again, it depends on the complexity of the application. You have to mention this. Okay, so I can write, I personally, you don't worry about what others can write. Don't explain the interviewer that it differs from individual to individual. This is what I'm trying to explain it to you. Okay, please try to understand when they ask you. Okay, yes, it differs from individual to individual, but when they ask you, you have to say what is your capability. So say that I can write around 40 to 45 per day. Very important word, say around. Don't say I can write 40 test cases per day. Not possible. See, when you say you can write 40 test cases per day, it doesn't go beyond 40. It will not be less than 40. That is not how it works. Okay. You're just giving an approx number. Okay. You're not specifying. I mean, you're not very specific saying that I can write only 40 test cases per day. No, that's not possible. Say, and that doesn't look good. So say around 40 to 45 test cases per day. And whenever they ask you any kind of questions with respect to numbers, how many test cases can you review per day? How many test cases can you execute per day? Okay. But the most important question out of all that is how many test cases can you write per day? So this is a very important question. 95% they're going to ask you this question because they want to understand your capability. Okay. And based on the answer that you say, you have to write the test cases for the time that they give you. Okay. They'll ask you to write the test case, right? So there you have to prove yourself. Okay. That means you can write more. There's a possibility that you can write more number of test cases, like 50, 55, 60 also. Some people say they can write 25 to 30, not more than 30, right? So it depends. It depends on the creativity. I mean, how fast they think, how well they think. Okay. So 40 to 45 test cases per day, I want you guys to say. And this is the ideal number. Okay. What I feel is the ideal number. And yeah. So next is how many test cases can you review? Okay, how many test cases can you review? So if they ask you this question, say around 30. around 30 test cases per day. If I have more time, then I can review more. Mention this point. Okay, more time. Okay, more time, more number of test cases. Okay. Next, how many test cases can you execute? One. Sorry, guys. Just make a, there's a change here. 40 to 40. No. 60. 55 to 60. Huh. Okay. Did you understand this? This is just some ideal numbers that you can say. If you want to, if you're planning to show like 2 years of experience or 2.5 years of experience, less than 3 years of experience, you can reduce this number. So if you're showing like more than 4 years of experience, please say this number. Okay. And for people who want to show 2.5 years within 3 years of experience, please make a note of this number. Say you can write 30, and review will be around 40-45, and what is this? Execution you can do around 50. Okay, or make it 40 and please mention, don't give the exact number, guys. Please mention the range or the average number. Okay, around 40, 45. Okay, please provide a range. Clear on this?
Ma'am, for one particular test case, how many minutes it will take, ma'am?
See, again, that depends on the complexity. I told you, right? If you're writing some test cases on a complex application, okay, even if you're showing like 4-5 years of experience, you cannot write 40 to 45 test cases per day. Trust me. You have to mention that in the interview. Okay, based on the complexity, it again depends on the complexity. Okay, so if it is a very complex application, then I can write around 30-35 minutes. Sorry, 35 test cases per day. Okay, so I cannot tell you like what is the, sorry,
Per day means 8 hours.
yes,
ma'am.
per day is, yes, with an hour break, which is 9 hours. So you will stay at office probably for 9 hours, but okay, 8 hours. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry to confuse you. Yeah, it's 8 hours. So for whole 8 hours, you cannot divide. Okay, 8 hours divided by 40. You cannot do that, because without wasting a single minute, you will not write test cases. Yes or no? So
Yes,
please
ma'am.
don't make that kind of calculation. Okay, so on an average, just say that you will write these many test cases. Okay, you will have many meetings in between. You will have to give KT, you will have to do the review also, you will have to execute. So you might be wondering, when I start writing the test cases, how will I be able to review? Parallelly, things should happen. So maybe there was a story for which you did not get, you wanted some clarifications, and that is the reason the developer did not pick for development. You did not write test cases because the requirement was not clear, but there were few more stories which was assigned to you. So will you waste time thinking that, okay, I have not got the clear requirement? No, you will not waste time. What will you do? You will write test cases for other stories. There are few more stories, right? You will not be assigned for a sprint. One test engineer will not be assigned with just one story, or one developer will not be assigned with just one story. They will be assigned with different stories, multiple stories. Okay, so just because you did not have clear information on a story point, sorry, on the story acceptance criteria, it's not that you will not be writing the test cases. You will write it for other stories, right? Now when you write other stories, say you wrote the test cases for those stories, likewise there are few more test engineers who will be writing test cases. Yes or no? So what will happen once they do it, once they write it? Okay, you have written test cases for one story. Now they also complete it for one story. Now what you will do, once you are done, you will exchange your test cases. Okay, once you exchange your test cases, she is going to share it with you, and you are going to share it with the other person, the same person or some different person, or you're going to share it with the lead. Now what you do, you start reviewing the test cases. So you cannot say that on a particular day I will just write the test case, in the second day I will just review the test case. You cannot say that, because along with the review on the same day, probably first half you reviewed the test case, and in the second half you might have to write test cases for one more story. You are not assigned with only 1 or 2 stories, you will be assigned with 5 stories. So you have to write test cases for all that. Okay, say one day one story you will write test cases, assume. Second day you will have review also along with that, correct? Third day you have few more test cases, you have not even started writing test cases for that. By then the developer had given you the build for one simple story. Now what you will do, you will do a smoke testing, you will do a round of smoke testing, because that is priority. The build has been given to you. You will do the smoke testing. If it is working fine, if it is working stable, then you continue with your testing. Along with that, by the end of the day, you have to manage time, and you have to write test cases for all the other stories, right? When I said if your build is working fine, you have to execute test cases. This will come into picture then on the same day. So it is like you will be multitasking. You will not just write test cases on one day, review test cases the next day, and then execute test cases the third day. That doesn't happen. Now, if it is not working, if there are some critical functions are not working, okay, if you're not able to log in, if there are blocker issues, then what you will do, you will inform it to the developer. He says it is not reproducible. Why? Because probably it was happening in the QA environment, because you tested it in the QA environment, and he is testing the same thing in the dev environment. So whenever you raise the bug, okay, I had mentioned this, right? So environment, provide the environment details. You tested it in the QA environment or stage environment or UAT, where you tested. So mention those points in the bug report which you prepare, right? When you raise a bug, mention the environment details or the system details. With those details, the developer will get to know, okay, this issue is happening in this environment, and he will test or he will review how it happens, how it happened, and why it is happening in that environment. And he's not facing any issue in the dev environment, so he'll say this issue is not reproducible. So you're just giving a chance for him to say that it is not reproducible. That is why I told you provide environment details, and then he's not going to say that this is not a bug or this is not reproducible. Okay, so provide all the details, all necessary details. Now, so everything you will do parallelly. Okay, so that is the reason I gave different numbers, guys. So please try to understand. Test case writing will take more time than review. Yes or no? When I say review, you might need like around 25 to 30 seconds to review one test case. Yes or no? Or maximum a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I say test case, in 1 minute you cannot write one test case. Not at all possible. Okay, if you're very focused, yeah, you can write. I'm not saying it is not at all possible, but usually it is not possible. I cannot do it. Okay, even if I'm focused, if it is a complex application, I need more time. If it is a very simple application, yes, I can write it even less than a minute. So it depends. It differs from application to application. Okay. In between, somebody will come to you or somebody pings you. You will have to address to that issue. There'll be an announcement in the group. Okay. In your Slack channel, somebody posts something with respect to some some event is happening. Okay, so you will have some other things to do. Okay, so, too many things will be there. So not even wasting. You cannot consider complete 8 hours. Please keep that in mind. Okay, so just blindly go with these numbers. Okay. If anybody has any other experience other than 4, 5, and below 3, please let me know. Is anybody planning to show more than that or less than that?
Ma'am, for 3 years experience, you can say 40 to 45.
30, 40, 45. 3 years experience.
2 years, ma'am.
2 years. You can say the same thing, 30, 40, 45. Or I mean, this is at least the minimum you have to show. You have to say 30 test cases, yeah, not below that. They feel that you are not capable of writing test cases. You don't think creative. You are not fast. They might think like that. So you better say 30, 40, 45. Okay? Clear, guys, on this? Shall we proceed?
In interview, I mean, one doubt. In interview, if they ask us to write a test cases and gave us half an hour, we can cover up to 5 to 6 test cases, ma'am.
Not enough. Not enough. You have to write more.
Okay.
In half an hour, you can write so many test cases. At least you have to write 20 test cases. It is possible. If you practice writing test cases today, who is that? I want to know. Who is
Sneha,
that?
ma'am.
If you
Sneha.
practice it today, okay, not just today, every day. See, by writing test cases in one day, you will not have very good, you will not have high level of confidence. Okay, that is also important. See, while writing test cases in the interview, you shouldn't be wondering, hey, this statement is correct or not? Was this how ma'am taught? Should I put it in some other way? These things shouldn't actually come into your mind. These points shouldn't come into your mind. If you're confident, how will that confidence build up? That is why I'm telling you, you have to write test cases every day. That is why I told you, update test cases, share it with me then and there. Okay, so I will review. Okay, if you have something very specific to be looked at by me, so please mention or ping me on WhatsApp so that I'll go to that particular test case and I'll check if it is correct or not. If you have any doubts, you need any clarifications, I'll let you know. So please write test cases every day. Practice writing test cases every day. That's a everyday job, everyday homework for you. Okay? Guys, clear?
Okay, ma'am.
We'll proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 1 day demo session. Next. So, how was your day? This can be a question. Like sometimes, a few years back, like I have seen many people have asked this question. So, how was your day-to-day activity as a QA? Okay. How was or a day? Okay, how does it look like? So basically, when they ask you, they might ask you some sub questions here. So what do you do as soon as you log in on a particular day? Okay, what do you usually do every day as soon as you log in? So this can be a question. So the first thing that you need to say is, as soon as I log in, I check my emails. Okay, I check my inbox, and if I have to address to any of the mails, the first thing that I do is I address. Okay, I reply to that mail. If I have what if I have to give any information, or if I have to reply back, just make it generic. Okay, if I have to reply, if there is any reply required, then I'll reply to those mails. And if there are any information that is being received from then I'll go through those informations and I'll keep myself updated on. Okay, so that everybody is on the same page. So whatever updates is being sent to you, okay, you just go through that and get the information. So this is what you need to say. The first thing that you do is check your emails. And basically, once you log in, okay, you will check your mail. And before your stand-up meeting, you have to have all the up-to-date information by looking at the mail, okay, before your stand-up call or your scrum meeting. Daily stand-up. When I say stand-up call or stand-up meeting, it is nothing but the daily scrum. Okay, daily stand-up meeting. These are different terms that the same meeting has. Okay, so usually it will be for a very short duration, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Sometimes if the team size is really big, then it can go beyond 15 minutes, like say 20, 25 minutes. If it is really very big, like 40, 50 members, okay, there's a possibility. If you join very big companies, MNCs, like there'll be too many people, too many QAs in your team. Okay, yeah. So usually it will be for a short duration, and once there, what will happen once I attend the stand-up call? Sorry. Once- I'm sorry. So once the stand-up call is done, so I'll get back to my desk and I'll start looking into what all the pending tasks that I had for on the previous day. So I'm going to complete that. So basically, I'll usually, if it is in the beginning of the sprint, so if it is in the beginning of the sprint, I'm going to write the test cases, understand the requirement, collaborate with the developers, try to understand if there is any clarification required. I'm going to connect with the DA, okay, and get my clarifications, get the clarifications, and I'll start writing the test cases. And if I'm in mid of the sprint, okay, then I will review the test cases, I'll execute the test cases. So basically, once after completing the test cases, if I'm in the beginning of the sprint, or in the initial days of the sprint, I'm going to write the test cases and then I'm going to get it reviewed. Parallelly, once I get my test cases reviewed, the other my peers or my lead is going to review my test cases. Once I get the review comments, I'm going to update the test cases. I'm going to update the test cases. And once the updation is done, okay, by the time the updation is done, my test cases are good to go, good to execute. Then the developers are providing me the build for the stories. Now I'll start executing the test cases. By then, I should have prepared for the test data, okay, because I know what is the test data, because I'm the person who actually prepared the test case document, right? So I'll prepare the test data before the build is being received. So once I receive the build, I start performing smoke testing. If I see any of the critical functionalities, then I'm going to share it with the developer. Okay, once the fixes are available, when the fixes are received, okay, when the fixed build is received, then I'm going to do the retesting. Then I'll also perform the regression testing, so that I'll make sure that the existing functionalities are not broken. The existing functionalities are working fine. So once I have confidence that this particular feature that I have written test cases for, or that has been assigned to me, once I have that confidence, I'm going to provide the sign off. So before giving the sign off, I'll also provide the demo to the stakeholders or to the product owner. So what is this demo? How does it look? This is, I'm moving out of the track, guys. Okay, just try to understand something about the demo. Okay, so when I say demo, okay, whatever you have tested, all these test cases. So if I provide this value, say there was a story which was written for search field. Okay, so it was a simple story for search field. Now in the demo, you will be there, the QA will be there. Okay, you will be the person who will be actually demoing it to the product owner. Okay, you will be demoing it to the product owner. So probably the lead, your lead, test lead, and your manager. So 4 to 5 members will be there. So it is a very small meeting where you will be demoing. So what is the objective of this particular feature? Why do you have this feature? What is the main functionality of this feature? You will have a search icon here, and when I type in first 3 characters, it is going to show the suggestions. Okay, and when I select one of the options, so if it is an autocomplete feature, or if it is being implemented with the autofill feature, so all these things you have to mention. Okay, so all these things you explain. See, I'm going to give this value. It is showing some options. So suppose if I say some random invalid data, invalid information, it will throw an error, or it doesn't provide it. It will say no search results found. What you're looking for is not available. This data is not available. So this kind of message should pop up, or some information message should be shown. Okay, so this is how you give the demo. You have to present your screen to those people who are in the meeting, or present in the meeting. So you will have to present it to them, and you have to give the demo. And this will not happen in all of the companies. Okay, this is not the procedure that everybody follows. Not all companies follow this. Okay, in some of the companies or the organizations, this will happen. In some of the other companies, what will happen is you have to provide the demo to the clients who are the end users. See, if it is someone who you already know, like the product owner who is working along with you, who is working in your team, then it is easy for you to give the demo. But if it is a client, if he's a client, then also you will have to give demo. And in your resume, if you say that you were involved in providing demo to the clients, you are directly interacting with the clients, then that is an added advantage. So please keep this in your mind. Okay, so when you mention the roles and responsibilities, you can also mention a point which says that you were interacting with the clients. You were directly having some interaction with the client where you are providing the demo, okay, user demo to the clients. You can mention all these points. So while having the resume preparation, is it done for you already? Resume preparation is done for you guys or not?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not at all.
Not yet done. Guys, I'm actually telling you all these information. I'm just saying this like a story. Okay, please try to understand how it is. You need to understand and you need to portray the same thing, convey the same thing in your interview. Okay, I cannot give you notes for all this. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
I really cannot give you notes. Okay, please try to understand. This is like a story. So this is how you need to explain to the interviewer. So when he says how will your day be, first thing is that you check your mail, and next will be your scrum call. Before your scrum call, you have to be ready with all the what information. I mean, all the updates, you should be up to date, right? You should have all the information. So just to make sure that everybody is on the same page, right? You shouldn't miss any information. So that is why you have to go through your mails. Now in the stand-up meeting, there might be some discussion. Like I said, it is a very short duration meeting, but sometimes it might take a bit long. Okay. So once you're done with your scrum call, next what you'll do, you'll come back to your desk and you'll start writing the test cases. If I'm working in the initial days of the sprint, okay, you have to mention this. If I'm in the initial days of the sprint, I will start writing the test cases. Once after writing the test cases, you will share it with your peers or your lead, and they are going to review it. Parallelly, at the same time, what do? You review other people, other QA engineers who have written their test cases. They are going to share it with you, and you review the test cases. Once you review the test cases, you are going to share the review comments, and by that time, you will also review the you will also get back your review comments. Correct? Now go through the review comments, update your test cases, keep it ready. By that time, the developer will develop the code. Okay, he'll develop the piece of code or the feature, and he's going to give you the build. So once you receive the first build, what is the first test that you're going to do? I'll perform smoke testing. Okay, once you perform smoke testing, if all the critical functionalities, basic and critical functionalities are working fine, then you proceed with the execution of test cases. If I see and there's any blocker issue or any of the critical feature is not working fine, then I'm going to share it or raise a bug. So where do I raise a bug? I'll raise it in the defect tracking tool, that is Jira. And I'm going to report it to the developer. I'm going to prepare a bug report with all valid or necessary information attached in the bug report, and I'm going to share it with the developer. Okay. Parallelly, what do? I write test cases for other stories that were pending. Okay. Or I'll update my test cases. If you have written, if all your test cases are up to date or all of them are updated, then you're going to update the test case, right? So you're going to write test cases for other stories, or you are updating the test cases for whatever you had written, right? Now, once the developer fixes the build and he's going to give you the new build, you are doing retesting, right? You're doing retesting on the blocker issue. Now, if that works fine, now you proceed with the functional testing, you proceed with other types of testing. Also, you perform regression testing. Why? To make sure that all the bugs that you had raised prior, okay, one point should be that has to be fixed, and the other point is all the other functionalities which were working fine, all those should also work as expected, right? There shouldn't be any issue in the other module or other features, or impact features. Please try to mention this word somewhere in your explanation in an interview. Okay. Impact area. There is something called as impact area. Okay. I have covered this, but I'll repeat later what that is. Okay. So then what will happen? Once that is done, I'm going to give the sign off. And before the sign off, I'm going to prepare all the necessary document, the release documents, right? So this is how my work will be done. Do you get an understanding of how it will be? I mean, how do you actually work in an organization? In a very simple way, just explain this. Understood, guys? Any
Yes, ma'am.
questions? Any questions?
No,
Think.
No, ma'am.
No?
Ma'am, in Scrum Daily, like, we all will get the chance to speak, ma'am. Like what we have to.
Afreen, guys, is it just me who is not able to hear properly, or everybody is facing the same issue?
no, Afrin, like
Our voice is totally low. ma'am.
Ma'am, in
Afreen, then please check.
Scrum Daily stand-up meeting, like everybody
Okay.
should speak up, or what? Like what will happen there, ma'am?
Yes, you have to. Everybody has to speak. See, there are many people in the team, the developers and the QAs, the leads will be present, the manager will be present, right? So everybody will be present. Now, each and every person should say, I mean, it is just that what you did yesterday, you are just providing the updates on what you have done. Okay? What do you speak in a Scrum call? What are the 3 points that has been mentioned in your manual class?
Yeah, what we did yesterday and what we're going to do today.
Correct?
And is there any hurdle or any issue we are facing?
Correct. Right? So basically, each and every person should give the update. As I already mentioned, you will be assigned not just with one story, you will be assigned with multiple stories. Correct? And say if you're in the middle of the sprint, okay, one story you have just completed writing test cases, but the build is not yet received. Okay. Now you have to give updates on one story, first story. Okay, the status of my first story is this one. You have to say the name of the story. You will have the name of the story, right? 1 second. Where is that? Say this one. Open story in QA. Okay. Now this is in QA. Okay. This is in QA. Now this story cart redirection enhancements, or say, I'll change it to in QA. Okay. Now assume this one I have reopened. Which one? I'll open this. Okay. This story is one of the story that is being assigned to you as a QA. Okay. This is assigned to Afreen. Now you have to give updates on this. Though everybody will have access to Jira, even your manager can go to this and see what is the status of this, what is happening on this. They want you to explain what you have done yesterday. Okay, what you will be working on today. If you say that I will not be working on this because I have a blocker. See, I have raised this issue. I have raised one issue here, one bug I have raised on this story related to this story, and the developer has not given me the fix yet. This is a blocker for me, and only 2 days are left for me to give the sign off. How will I test such a big critical feature? This is a very big story. UI, I have to, if it is card UI, then I have to test lot many things in the UI. You have to say or convey your issues or your problems, the problems that you're facing with respect to work to the team. Okay, so now what they're going to do, the manager is going to take the initiative and he will say, Okay, a developer, you have to fix this issue first. Hey, work on this particular story. So this is the priority task that for you. He's going to give the action plan. What needs to be done? He's going to say that, hey, developer, you work on this first and give her the build, so that the blocker issue is fixed, so that she can continue her testing. Meanwhile, you can work on other stories. Now, what will happen? Just because the manager said he is going to work on this particular issue on priority, correct? And everybody in the team will also get to know that what you are working on. Everybody should know what you're working on. Likewise, you should also know what the other person is working on. Say you're assigned with 3 stories, and those 3 stories are worked by same developer. Now, you should have some updates, right? Which particular story he's working. So you will have an idea, okay, what will be coming next to me, which is the story that will be assigned to me, in future. In the next few days, tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And what is the status of that particular story? Is development yet not yet started, or he has to yet pick for development, or he is almost in the end stage of development? So if he says almost it is done, by tomorrow I'm going to give the build, then you have to be ready. Okay, I'm going to get the build by tomorrow. So tomorrow you will make up your mind, okay, to work, right? So even the manager, even your leads should be having an idea of what is actually happening in the team. Understood? So you have to speak what you did about, you have to speak about what you did yesterday, what you're doing today. And if you are facing any blocker issues, if you're facing any other issues, say for example, you have a story, you did not get any information, there was some acceptance criteria was not clear, the BA did not get back to you, even after pinging many times, okay, he might be on leave for 2 days. You have to tell it to the team, no? Otherwise, how will they understand? They will just think that, okay, you did not test it. Instead, please convey to the other people in the team that it is not your fault, it is BA's fault. He did not give the requirements. That is the reason I have not proceeded with my work. In that case, what is the manager going to do? He himself will connect with the client, or he will connect with the product owner, and he will get your doubts clarified. You got this? So just to be
Can you elaborate on acceptance criteria?
I've already said that. So it is nothing but the description part. Do you see this? The description of the story. The description of the story is nothing but the acceptance criteria. Do you recall this? AC, acceptance criteria.
Okay, ma'am.
Understood? So it is nothing but in the story, the requirement, the points that will come as part of a requirement is nothing but acceptance criteria. Understood? Just go through this particular story, Afrin. Okay, AMA 7. Afrin or whoever. Okay?
It will be given by a BA only, right?
Yes.
Acceptance criteria.
Yes. Guys, everybody, do you guys remember what is AC? Acceptance criteria? Very important term. Do you remember or not? All of you? Nenpidya?
Yes, ma'am.
Matogidya? Okay. Nenpidre? Good.
Ma'am, one more thing. While doing regression testing, we should do unit regression, or what kind of regression we will do, ma'am? There
How
is
many
three
types
types
of regressions do you have?
If you unit regression, regional, and full regression is there, no, ma'am? If we have time, we will do full regression, or what kind of regression we will
ನೀವು
do?
ಇನ್ನೂ ಏನೋ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇತ್ತಾ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್? Okay.
Nothing, ma'am.
Now tell me
Regression
what do
type,
you mean by
no.
unit regression? ಎಲ್ಲ ರಿಗ್ರೆಷನ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Unit regression
Yeah.
means Testing only the
Okay.
changes, ma'am. Testing only the modified feature is called unit regression testing. The regional means the impacted region we going to test.
Sorry.
The region, the developer, after,
Take your time.
testing the regions and
Okay.
impacted regions.
What is that?
Regional regression.
Okay.
For example,
Next to full.
Testing all the features along with the changed features.
all the features. Ma'am.
So again, it differs from application to application. Right? Just wanted to see how much you remember on these types of regression testings. So in an interview, whenever you speak about regression testing, don't mention I was involved in performing unit regression testing, regional regression testing, and one more is full regression testing. Please don't elaborate on this. If you are a fresher, then that is different. That is something different. Okay. Are there any freshers here? I think there are 2 people who are freshers. Who are they, guys? I just saw that on the
Location Kanakalakshmi, I guess, ma'am.
okay. I think they are attending the project class, right? Correct. Are they attending the project class? I remember they were there. Okay, just for their information. See, whoever it is, don't be very specific on saying unit regression testing, regional and full regression testing. Just say it as regression testing. See, what will happen in an interview, like how I asked you, what do you mean by unit regression testing? What do you mean by regional regression testing? What do you mean by full regression testing? How many types of testings are there? The interviewer is going to ask you dig deep into that particular question just because you mentioned those points. You mentioned about unit, regional, and full, right? So if you do not mention, the interviewer is not going to ask you. Just concentrate on the high level of just say it as a regression testing. So basically what will happen whenever you do a regression testing, the first thing that you need to do is the unit regression testing. So basically what actually where it went wrong, okay, that particular part or the area that you have to test. And the whole region, see, whenever you find a bug, okay, there'll be something called as impact area. So even in the story, when the BA is giving you the story, in the sprint planning meeting, when the BA explains you the stories, he provides you the acceptance criteria, they're also going to mention or they're going to discuss, the developers or the QAs, they're going to discuss about what are the impact areas. And the same will be added here. Not all the organizations, but most of the organizations, they'll be providing. If they're not mentioning here, at least they will discuss about it. Okay, if they're not mentioning it here, impact areas. So if it is card, where checkout. So some changes that you make in checkout, say for example, when the user, okay, do I have Amazon? I will give you one example. Okay. So one quantity I will add to cart. Okay, I will go to cart. What do you see? The quantity is 1. Correct? Now I will change it as 2. Okay. I will go back. Sorry. Here. Proceed to buy. Okay. When I say use this address, so here, see here, assume I have selected I have selected 2 items, but here in the order summary, I can see how much the cost for only one quantity. Assume this is a bug that I'm explaining you. There is a bug. In the cart page, I added 2. The quantity as 2 for the same product. Okay. What's the price? We'll see the price. Yes, with all discounts and all that. 1099. Okay. Now I've added 2 quantities. The quantity is 2. But here, when I proceed to buy, okay, what does it show? So it will show items as 2198. Now it is correct. Here, what you see is correct. Assume it is showing 1099. Here, 1099. Is that a bug or not? Right? So, whenever you test, okay, whenever you test this fix, you have to make sure to go back and check in the cart page what is the quantity that is shown. Is the quantity shown correctly or not? So both are interrelated. Whatever changes that you make here, that will reflect somewhere else in one more module or in another feature. So both are interrelated. Some changes you make in one particular feature or in one particular module, that is going to affect in another module. This is just a very small example that I have given you. Okay, try to understand. First, you understand what it is. Then you yourself can give many examples. Okay, so this is the impact. Not just in this application, there are many applications where there will be impact areas. So, any other example if I have to give? I'm not getting anything. Gmail. Are you understanding this? What do you mean by impact area? I'll give you some more examples. I'll just search for it and I'll give you. Okay. But please try to understand. Multiple features or multiple modules are interrelated. So something you're changing here is actually reflecting on the other end. Okay. That is the impact. And if you make the fix here, it should also be fixed in the other module. Wherever it is reflecting, there also the fix should be available. It should work fine everywhere. That particular fix that you made for one particular region, that should be working everywhere. So that is the impact area. So when it comes to regional regression in one particular region, so you know the impact areas, right? You know the impact areas. What you do when I say regional regression testing, not just where the bug was, you also test it on the impacted areas. So basically, you do the regional regression testing. And when I say full regression testing, you are going to test complete application or complete module, 2 different complete modules you're going to test. You're not going to just see, okay, whether it has impact or not. Okay, you just test each and everything. Basically, we will do regional regression testing. Usually, we do perform regional regression testing. And if we have a lot of time, then you can do full regression testing, guys. Okay, but unit regression testing, it is not recommended, but sometimes if we have time constraint, then you can go ahead with that. Understood? So I told you earlier, today in the beginning, I mentioned about this impact area. So that has also been covered. You understood this, right? Impact area. I'll give you a few more examples. I'm not just getting a valid example right now. Okay, clear on this? Understood? Any other questions?
Ma'am, every company will make use of both manual testing as well as automation, ma'am.
Not necessary. See, if it is a startup, okay, is the application stable? If it is a startup, they're just trying to build the application. Do you think that the application will be stable? Is the application stable or not?
If it started.
Stable or not? Do you understand the question? It's okay, guys. If you have not understood, then please do ask. Say that you have not understand, you are not getting what it is, what it means. See, so when I say Amazon, okay, Flipkart, These are well-established companies. See, if you explore the application, you find a very less number of bugs or no bugs at all. If you try to explore the application, yes or no? So the application is highly stable. The application is highly stable. When I say the application is not stable, that means the application behaves weirdly. It behaves really, very weird. Sometimes if I'm testing one feature, this feature, let's say, it works fine now, the very next moment it will not work. And too many impacted areas, too many integrations. You are doing something here, something else is breaking somewhere. And when you fix that, if something else is broken somewhere, if the developer starts fixing that particular issue, the other issue, then something else will break. So they do not have an organized structure of work, or the application is not stable is what I can say. Okay, and whatever requirements they have, okay, there'll be too many bugs in the bug triage. You will have many bugs in the bug bucket. Okay, so most of them have to be picked and most of them should be fixed. When you see very less number of bugs in the application, then you can switch to automation. So they can ask you a question: when can automation be started on an application? First point, whenever you feel that the application is stable, we can start with automation. Second point, when there is a requirement of repetitive task in an application. Say, for example, you have to add multiple products, same kind of products, or different models of different model for phones, let's say. Okay, if the seller, if you have to have an account and the same seller has to add multiple products which belong to the same category, if he wants to add, then that is a repetitive task. Okay, and let's say you have to test as a QA, you have to test with hundreds of, you're doing performance testing. Assume you're doing performance testing at the same time, thousands of accounts log into the same application. You have to do the performance testing. Now, to create those 1,000 accounts, can you do it manually? Do you think it is feasible? Can you create it manually?
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
That is when automation comes into picture. Did you understand? See, if I have to go in depth, I can give you a few more examples, but I want you to understand. That's the reason I'm giving you very simple examples. Did you understand, guys?
Yes.
Clear?
Ma'am.
All of you? Yeah. Any other questions?
Ma'am, we have selected some projects today. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, today, it means all our projects are done through manual testing only. Is it possible? For example,
Yes.
First Cry, Agio, I selected. So,
Huh.
so it means I have worked on those projects and I was working as a manual test engineer or something.
Yes.
What else should
Now,
I say?
it doesn't mean that. When I say you perform automation testing on an application which is stable, when I say make that statement, it doesn't mean that there is no automation, there is no manual testing done on that application. It doesn't mean that there is no manual testing done on that application. Okay, manual testing is required. That's the basic thing that will happen. And when it comes to a repetitive task in an application, when you have a repetitive task, okay, just to save time, okay, you have automation, you have implemented automation. Do you understand this? So
I think in most of the product based company they will use, right,
in most of the startups,
automation.
yeah, automation. See, no.
Ma'am, automation in product based company they will use, right?
No.
Because
Don't go with
they
that.
used to do repetitive.
No, don't go with that. See, it depends from company to company. I told you, right? If it is a startup, doesn't depend on whether it is a what product based company or a service based company. Both of them require what manual and automation. But what is the
Automation.
state of the organization? How long they have started developing the product or the project? So there was a company called company XYZ. Okay, last year, since the last year, a small team of developers started building the application. Did they have developers hired? Did they did they hire testers in the initial stage of development? No, not required. Simply they have to give the salary, which is waste of money. So they don't require testers because they are still developing the application. At least they don't have some pages that is being developed to test. Okay, they're in the very initial stage of development. Testers are not required. Testers are only not required. Understood? Let's say 1 year got over. Now they feel like they have developed few of the features and now they want it to be tested. What they will do? They will test by themselves. Another 6 months. Now they cannot test by themselves because they have more and more number of modules, more and more number of features that they have developed. Okay, will they spend time on development or will they do testing? And you know what are all the disadvantages or drawbacks of developers doing testing? You know that, right? So what
Yes,
they
ma'am.
do is they hire some QAs. They hire some mid senior level or entry level QAs. Okay, now they will ask them to perform testing. What these people will do, testers, they will do monkey testing because the requirement is not clear, because the application is not clear. Then assume that they do not have a organized work there. They do not have Jira, they will not have any defect tracking tool, so they will be maintaining some Excel. Okay, I'm just giving you a overview of how it might be. Okay, so now the work is not at all organized. Now they will come up with many bugs. The developers will start fixing the bugs. Also they'll come up with new features, more and more new features. They'll come up with new requirements. Now these freshers are not enough, they want some senior level QAs. So it is not I'm not speaking about automation, it is just manual work. Okay, now manual QAs will be hired. Now manual QAs will start working. Okay, they will test the application. Now let's say the application is stable, they released it to prod. Now you can see that application in Play Store or you can access it on web. Okay, now there is repetitive task. Now they ask for automation candidates so that they can ease their job of manual. Okay, now they'll hire a lot many manual candidates, automation candidates. It doesn't mean that they will fire all the manual ones. No, even though your product is stable, there are new modules that they are bringing up, right? In the application, they'll develop few more new modules. Like I told you, when WhatsApp was developed, when WhatsApp came into market, did you have all the features that you have today? Were you able to access all the features that you have today? No. There are enhancements. Who will perform testing on those enhancements? Manual QAs. Even today, WhatsApp will have manual QAs. But the requirement that they have, the job openings that they have, will be kind of manual and automation. The candidate should have knowledge on both or experience on both manual and automation. That will be the
Ma'am,
requirement. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, that are they going to ask questions that are related to our project that we have selected? Like,
Yes. So basically, I'll be covering it tomorrow. Okay. So basically, they're going to ask you, explain your project. What are the roles and responsibilities? Okay. And there, if you say that I was involved in performing manual testing, I was writing test cases by applying test case design tech 66.
ma'am, and do we have any information that this project was developed or like it was tested in this particular company or something? Is it some
I'm sorry, I
specified
didn't get you.
company? For example, First Cry. there must be a company, no, who developed it and who tested it. Like
First try
like
only.
should we? Yeah,
First try
like,
only.
I'm just giving an example. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's like this one. What you say? Product-based company.
Yes. See,
They have
most of the
their own
applications that
product.
you guys have selected are all product-based companies. When I say product-based companies, the products that you have selected, they themselves are developers. They have their own what development team and testing team. Understood?
Okay.
Apurva, what her question was that if she's putting FastCry as her experience and she has tested on that project, will the hirer not be aware of the company which has performed testing on the FastCry? Was that her question?
So one thing you guys have to understand, there are two possibilities. One is that there's an application XYZ, whatever it is. This application will be developed by some development team. Okay. Or say first cry, we'll take first cry only. Okay. Two possibilities. One is that this first cry people, the offline store people or the owner, whoever is the owner, he will come up with an idea. Okay, not just the offline store, I should also have a website where people can buy things or purchase the items online. Correct? That was his idea, right? So nowadays we have lot many e-commerce applications. People prefer to buy online, right? So I also want a application or a website. Now what did he do? He can approach different service-based companies. Try to understand. I'll give you the difference between the service-based and the product-based companies here only. So what he will do, he will approach some service-based companies. What they will do, they will provide service. That means they are getting the requirement from the client. So who is the client here? The first cry owner. Okay, he is the client. Now he will give the requirement. Okay, I want my website to look like this. He doesn't say I want a box here, I want a button here. He doesn't specify. He is giving the CRS, customer requirements. Do you understand? So he is just trying to explain, I want an application where the users or the customers should be able to purchase the product. So I want some additional special features like this. Okay, he's just saying this. Okay, now the BA will get all those informations and he's converting it to the which document? Software. Which document? He gets the CRS.
SRS.
SRS document.
Yes,
So he's going to convert it to the SRS. Now in SRS, he's going to write it or convert it in with some technical terms, right? So here some button should be there when we log in. For logging in, we are not actually having any password. Instead, once we provide the mobile number, it should ask for the OTP. So with the OTP should be sent to the registered number. By providing the valid OTP number, he should be successfully logged in. So this is how the SRS document will, the information in the SRS document will be present. So now with this SRS document, there will be a development team. Okay. Where in the service-based companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, L&T. So these are some of the service-based companies where they will have different teams which work on different projects. Like First Cry owner approached Infosys. In Infosys, it is not just there will be one team who work on First Cry. There will be one more team who work on some other application, say Hopscotch. Okay. So there are different teams which work on this kind of applications. Okay. Now try to understand. This is one way. Second way is First Cry itself. The owner itself will come up with a thought. He will come up with a thought that why don't I have a website? Okay. Why don't I have an online store? And we will have our own development and testing team. So what they did, they came up with a product-based company. They came up with a product-based company where they have their own product, like Meesho, for example. That's the best example for the product-based company, which you guys know very well, right? So they have a mobile application, right, which has been developed by their own development and testing team. So as a QA, I am working in a product-based company, product-based organization. So I can give requirements to my development team, and my development team is going to do the work. Yes, does anybody have any question? Guys?
Yeah, Purva, I'm sorry, I have a call. So can I leave?
Yes,
is the session gonna be more?
No. It'll be for 5 more minutes. If you want to drop, then you can drop. You can go through the recording.
Okay, thank you, Apurva.
Yeah. So it'll be just for 5 more minutes. I understand it is 10:30. Okay. So what they're going to do? They're going to develop the application. So this is the difference between the service-based company and the product-based company. In the service-based company, they are going to give the quotation when the customer is approaching them and providing them the requirement. I want an application like this to look like this. They're going to say, okay, we will charge so much amount, 3 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh, and it will take like 1 year or 6 months to develop and give you this application. And post that, we will only maintain your application. We are not going to give any enhancements. If you want any enhancements on the application that we build after 6 months, you have to pay us extra for the enhancements. That is the condition that they're going to say. Where in the service-based company, but in the product-based company, they have their own product. That is their company. So when I say Meesho, it is their own company, right? So they have a product and they don't work for any other product. If I go and tell Meesho people, I want an application, please build it for me, they're not going to do it because that's their own application and they're going to work only for their application. They're going to do some enhancements, some addition to on the requirements, or they're going to build some a web application also. So they might come up with this kind of ideas, right? So they have their own team who work on the application. In some of the product-based companies, forget about e-commerce. Okay, there are few more applications, different domain applications, where they customize the product. They actually build a base product. When I say base product, they're going to have some skeleton of the product. Just try to understand this. They're going to have a skeleton of the product, and to that product, they're going to give the demo to different customers. Okay, different customers. And if the customer wants any customization, then they're going to do that customization for that particular customer, and they will give access to that customer. One more customer will approach. Okay, now he has some other requirement. So on this skeleton, I'm going to add some more features, and I'm going to provide it to this customer. One more customer will approach me. Okay, I'm going to add some more features. Okay, like how he wants. Okay, some additional features, some small changes or major or minor changes, and I'm going to give it to that customer. And what will they do? They are using our application. The customers are using my application, and they will pay me. So it is my product. I am the owner here. Okay, I can change or I can update my application. I can change anything in my application whenever I want. So this is the product-based company. Did you get an overview of what this is? Understood? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Amazon, this is a product-based company. So you have different products. You have AWS, cloud services. I'm sorry. So you have multiple applications when I say product-based companies. And most of the applications that you guys have selected are product-based companies. I'll just go through that. One second, guys. Homely, First Cry, JioMart. So JioMart is Jio's Baby World. Sanjana. Okay, Sanjana, that's the name. No Broker. They're all product-based companies. Okay, Nando's. Mother Care, I'm not very sure, but yeah, that has to be this one. Meesho, Delicious, they're all product-based companies. So Afreen's question was, will the hiring manager accept, or will he say, what was your question, Afreen? Will the hiring manager?
Ma'am, will they ask questions related to the company where we have worked, like anything, like for
See,
example,
so now I told you what is the difference
maybe
between.
as you mentioned, as you mentioned that like maybe I was involved in testing during when it was developed, and maybe later on when it was in maintenance, say, upgrading or something like that. That is also possible, right?
No, see, first try to understand all the applications that you guys have selected. 99% of them, all of them, I'll just go through them once later. All of them are product based companies. Okay, please try to understand. Now you are getting the documents for one company, say Vidyut. You will get list of companies from some person whom you pay some amount, and you will get list of companies. Okay, there you will get name of companies, like some unknown names, you have not heard about those names only. Okay, those kind of names, company names you will get. Vidyut, and NXP, some NXT, I mean some company names which you have not heard about. They are not product based companies. Okay, some service based companies names you will get. That doesn't mean that those companies are not existing. They exist. We cannot show some documents for companies which don't exist. Those companies will exist. Okay, so now you will get documents for those companies, and in your resume you should say that your payroll company was this company. Okay, this existing company, but you were sent to the client place. Which client's place? You were sent to the client's place, that is First Cry. You were sent to Meesho. You were working in Meesho, but all the payment, all the transaction, all your salary was coming from where? Your payroll company. That is Vidyut. Vidyut Software Private Limited. That company was paying you the amount. You might be wondering why that company will pay. Because I'm working in Meesho. Every day I will travel to Meesho. Okay, I will go to Meesho office and I'll work there. But why is this company paying? There will be something like payroll company that is called C2H. Okay, this parent company or the payroll company will have some tie-up with the other companies, other product-based companies or any other service-based companies, where they have the requirement, but they don't want to hire people. Okay, they don't want to hire people because they're not sure whether these people, the resources which we hire, when you actually hire, when the company hires a permanent employee, the benefits that they have to give is more, guys. Try to understand this. So what does the company do? What does Meesho do? What they will do is they will outsource the resources. So the benefits will not come into picture here. All that will be taken care by the parent company or the payroll company. Okay, so now Vidyut is going to pay you amount, and how will Vidyut get money? Meesho will be paying Vidyut some amount, and Vidyut will be paying you some part of that money. Do you understand this? So your
Yes, ma'am,
payroll
that is
company
completely.
is nothing but
Yes, ma'am.
the name of the company that you're going to select from that document person. Okay, understood on this?
Understood.
Okay, and you are going to work in the client's place. Which is the client place? In a WhatsApp you have selected few projects. No, that is nothing but the client's place. Understood? And these are all product based companies. Clear now? Any other question?
No
this
question.
is a very important question. I mean, very important concept that you need to know, guys. Okay, so can we drop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so Manikya, please stay, and
Yes,
others please drop. Manikya, 5 more minutes. Others please drop.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.